Hey, y'all, welcome back to Mountain Murders Midweek.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
How are you, Dylan?
I'm so excited.
Wrapping up the month of April.
Yeah.
It's gone by pretty fast.
Where's this year went?
I know.
I think people are
Speeding
just
along.
happy they can go out without seeing military vehicles in the road.
Well,
And
who knows
quarantines.
what's coming in the next couple months.
Oh, my God.
We're living in crazy times.
It is crazy times, and we do, me and you have a hobby of searching around for strange stories, weird stories, and there seems to be plenty of them right now.
Oh, an abundance.
That is the law of abundance.
It's like the cornucopia of weird shit.
Oh, my gosh.
2022.
You remember those cornucopia, big table dressing, like, decorations that, like, you know, you go to have Thanksgiving dinner and there'd be this great big cornucopia fake thing in the middle of the table?
Yup.
Yep. I can see it in my head.
Look, my mom she's something else. I'll just say that. When I was a child, Dylan.
You were a child.
Something you may not know about me, Joe Rogan. When I was a wee little girl and we would attend family Thanksgiving, my mother would dress me in a pilgrim costume.
No, this can't be real.
I have photos to back up the story. I had this little black, kind of like a jumper dress, I suppose, with a white collared button-up shirt that went under it. And I had one of those little blackened sort of, I guess it's like a little bonnet or like a pilgrim kind of hat, and then wore these little buckle shoes. And this costume fit for quite a few years because from the age of 4 till about 10, like I just didn't grow.
Right.
It's just this little tiny, everybody thought I was much younger than I was because I was just super small kid. I don't know what happened. So it fit for some years. And yes, my mother would dress me as a pilgrim to attend family Thanksgiving.
Oh, and everybody'd like rub your head and talk about how cute you were.
Oh, look at her.
Oh, and did you like this or did you not like this?
I mean, I've always enjoyed dressing up in costumes. But looking back now, I'm not sure if that was appropriate. I don't know.
Yeah, but year 6 and you're like 23 years old. You're like, Mom, this is too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want to wear it last year.
All right. So how are you doing? We hope everyone out there is doing a wonderful.
Yeah, I think folks in the region are confused about the weather. We have to install air conditioners and keep a space heater around because you just never know what's going to happen. We've been teetering on like 70, 80 degree days, and then we'll have like a snow day mixed in. So it's confusing. A lot of us are battling allergy issues. So if I do sound a bit stuffy, I apologize because, well, you know.
You know, I heard a conspiracy theory about
season.
About all the pollen. You want to hear my theory?
Yeah, tell me.
So allegedly, they have replaced all the a lot of the fruit trees and flowering trees with the male version. So
manly trees.
Yes, and I guess they're producing the pollen, so that there's less wild fruiting trees and such in the countryside.
So people have to go pay.
So you have
fruit.
to go pay for fruit, even
That's
if
probably genetically modified.
Yes.
And pumped full of shit that will kill you.
And this is why there's seemingly an overabundance of pollen nowadays in most areas.
I believe it.
Oh, my God.
Makes perfect sense to me, Dylan.
They would do that, wouldn't they?
They sure would. If you haven't caught this week's case on the New Bedford Highway serial killer, you definitely want to go download, give that a listen. I think it's a very intriguing case. A huge true crime story, probably the worst serial killer in New England since the Boston Strangler. A lot of folks have given us positive feedback, like, hey, it's a really good episode. I think we have great energy on this episode, Dylan.
It was. I did my homework. I read
was proud
stuff.
of you.
I watched stuff, and I said more than, oh, my God.
Yeah, so check it out. It's a pretty decent episode, but now it is a time for our midweek. And you know we like to bring you all the true crime news and latest happenings. Dylan, are you ready?
Yes, I want to hear your first story.
Okay, well, this is the kind of true crime news I like to hear about because it's some shitbirds who got busted. And I'm taking you over to Sevier County, Tennessee, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge area. Home of Miss Dolly Parton, our patron saint of the South.
Yeah, I believe that's where Karen's over there. Hey, Karen.
Yeah, we do know Karen over there. So a 2-day undercover operation involving multiple law enforcement agencies led to the arrest of 8 men in Tennessee who were accused of seeking illicit sex from minors.
Oh, my
Bunch
God.
of fucking pedophiles. Fuck these pedophiles. So the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, or the TBI as it's called, sent out a press release saying the operation ran from April 21st to the 22nd. Good. I'm glad these shitbirds were arrested on my birthday. Placed several decoy advertisements on websites that are known to be linked to prostitution and commercial sex cases. The officials said the operation aimed to address human trafficking in East Tennessee and focused on individuals seeking to engage in commercial sex acts with minors.
So these individuals, they make contact online somehow, some way, but they know that this is a minor they're supposed to be going to see.
Absolutely.
Right?
They are purposefully seeking out these minors. So 8 men were booked in to Sevier County Jail, and I'm going to publicly shame these men. I'm going to give you their names. There's Carl Joseph Cantrell from Dandridge, Tennessee. Benjamin Jason Holt from Newport, Tennessee. Eric Burse Griffith from Robbins, Tennessee. Denise Tyolkin from Ravenna, Ohio. Tyler Ryan Arrington of Lebanon, Virginia. Raul Pedro from Knoxville, Tennessee. Kevin Leroy Bayer from Westminster, Maryland. And Ivan Cale Freeman from Knoxville. So some of these fuckers traveled
From
across state
Ohio.
lines.
And from Virginia, from
Maryland.
And that reminds me of the story we covered last week of that woman who flew from Detroit, flew and got an Airbnb, and I forget where she flew to, but it was quite somewhere.
Detroit.
It was to Detroit.
She went to the Detroit, and she was from California.
Yes.
San Francisco.
Right.
I have a decent memory sometimes.
You remember it all, and I can't remember anything. But anyway, so you have these people going through these great lengths, knowing that they're going to take advantage and exploit a minor. And how scary is that? How many of these 8 or 9, 10 people, whatever, show up and they're all that close to us? Literally.
Fuck them. I'm glad they got busted.
I've seen many videos. There are a lot of organizations out there who do this very thing. They set up a decoy website, personas, and then they arrange a meet eventually. It's all in the spirit of Chris Hansen.
And then that show back in the day.
They have them meet them in a very public space, right? So meet me at the mall. Oh, because it's going down. Sorry. Or meet me in a Walmart, somewhere very public, full of people. And then they will just walk up on them, say, I know who you are and I know why you're here. And then they pull the whole Chris Hansen, starts reading the text. Oh, and this one guy, he's a young guy. And I'm surprised he hasn't had people try to fight him. He will start screaming, do you know why this
on YouTube?
man... Yes.
That fella?
Do you know why this man's here?
He busted a UNCA professor, which is the University of North Carolina at Asheville, in our area. A professor there who was trying to meet an underage male online for sex.
Yes, he did.
Busted this guy, I believe it was in Greenville, South Carolina, and met up with a guy and is yelling like this guy tried to have sex with a minor and just totally embarrasses this guy, which good. Of course, the man backtracks like, I was just trying to meet him to warn him of the dangers.
I wanted to see if this was real.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it got back to UNCA and he's been fired.
Nice.
He no longer works there due to this.
He
Now,
should've.
I don't think any criminal charges were filed, but he's no longer employed there. And I was reading a lot of the comments on YouTube, and many people were like, I had this man as a professor. I'm glad he's gone. Like, this is so disturbing.
Yeah, and these people it's admirable what they do. It's dangerous, and what for one good thing is they're tying up these weirdos' time so they can't actually get at a child. They publicly shame them, and I would like to think maybe in some instances they scare these guys bad enough they never do this again.
Well, let's hope so.
Right, or it could lead to criminal charges because that guy I can't remember his name, but he does pass all his information and evidence along to local authorities, and charges do come after that sometimes.
Love it.
Admirable, and it's admirable of the investigators there in Tennessee for setting this up. And the scary part is anyone, especially who's willing to drive or travel for hours, they've done this before, and they've been successful.
This is a drop in the bucket
Yes.
compared to the number of people out there who don't get busted.
Exactly.
And that's what's very frightening. Now, if you are into those types of shows where they bust these sickos, I recommend Discovery Plus Undercover Underage.
Ooh.
I was obsessed with this. It's an organization called SOSA, SOSA. The woman who runs this, her name is Rue Powell, and it's a docuseries where SOSA works to successfully track down some of the most dangerous child predators. Rue Powell, a very cute woman, very intelligent lady, she looks young, is able to dress up in wigs and makeup, and she has like lighting
And a
and
high
like
voice.
a whole crew working to make her look a certain age, and she lures these men in online and then of course passes on all of the evidence she finds to law enforcement. There have been some arrests made thanks to her organization's work, but the show is very interesting and you just can kind of see how it works. And one of the main apps, and if you do have kids, I don't know if I'd want them on this app, but that Kick,
That
K-I-K,
Kick, I would not
is
allow.
the app where all of these predators, I mean, she's able to lure in so many predators through that app.
For Kick,
Yeah.
I've heard about that for years. In these very types of stories, some people have posited that if it wasn't for the activity of predators and the unfortunately young people on there engaging in this activity as well, Kick wouldn't exist. That's how bad it is. So it's definitely disgusting. If you pick your kid's phone up later this evening and see that they have Kick on there, you need to have a discussion. You need to get that off of there. And that's my opinion on that. It is dangerous.
Of course, there are a lot of those watchdog apps that try to help parents. But, you know, I mean, I'm not a perfect parent by any stretch, but I do think kids having just unadulterated, unsupervised, just,
Unfettered.
you know, use of the internet messaging app Snapchat is dangerous. I mean, it's something that our generation didn't deal with a whole lot back in the day, maybe a little bit in those AOL chat rooms, but our kids are inundated with this stuff. And,
they are.
You know, at minimum, if you're not going through your kid's phone, which I'm not saying you have to invade their privacy, because your kids are entitled, I think, to a little bit of privacy and having you trust that they're going to make the right decisions. But it's just so important to educate them and have these conversations, even if they're difficult to have, tough conversations to have with your kids about these predators, because it's a reality.
I agree. And sometimes, you know, just talking, I know it's hard to talk to somebody you're not interested in the same subject matter, so it's kind of hard to just, you know, carry on these light conversations with your children, but just talking to them about what they're doing it on. And if you do hear that they have one of these more notorious apps, just have a conversation.
Don't talk to strangers.
And don't feel bad about like drawing a line either, because you still are the parent. And Kick, for instance, with me, I'm a pretty cool parent. I would say I'm sorry, you got 20 other things you can use. You're not going to use that one.
Right.
Or I'm not going to keep paying for your phone.
Well, one of the other apps that the kids were using for a period, and I finally was like telling our daughters, because they would get on there and they would laugh.
I know what you're
Omegle, I think is what it's called.
Yes.
Where it's almost like a chat roulette type of thing.
It's like a video chat
where
roulette.
You are just having these like few-minute conversations with people all over. And the number of times our girls would be on that app and would switch to some dude masturbating or a woman showing her genitals, and our daughters would be like, "Oh my God," and like flip off of it. But I was like, we're not doing this anymore. You're deleting that app.
See, that's a perfect example of what I was just discussing. I'd heard of Omegle, right? And I heard the kids talking about it, and I'm like, okay, that sounds kind of, you know, I don't get it. I don't get what you're talking about.
Yeah, so the one time that they
yes.
were on this app and I was present, I was like, nope,
yes,
we're done, and no more. We're not doing that. Take that shit off your phone.
And that's another good way to, instead of just being the big bad parent, of saying, what are you guys doing? Can I do it with you? That sounds fun. And just in one evening, you contacted me at work and was like, oh my God, let me tell you. And just this whatever 30-minute episode of you doing this with our daughters, you saw multiple things that were beyond inappropriate.
Oh, terrible.
Yes.
And the things
Hate,
these adult men would be
mean,
saying, racist remarks.
Yes.
People telling our kids you're ugly. I mean, just mean shit. But then it'd be like, here's a big dick just up in the screen.
Oh my
and,
God.
you know, I'm like, oh my God, girls.
You told them to leave the room so you could make sure what's going on?
No, I did not.
Disgusting.
I'm glad my daughter's not into that.
So after 45 minutes, Heather turned it off and was just like, this is disgusting.
jokingly, but I'm like, this is why my daughter's gay now, because she was, her
No.
eyes were abused with this weird dick on Omegle.
In all seriousness, though, think about that.
No, it's fucking disturbing.
It's scary.
My daughters did not need to see that. Your daughter did not need to see that. My child did not need to see that. So,
my wife should not have seen that.
I didn't want to see it. I was like, ooh, will you put that little thing away?
Ooh. No. Earlier it was a big old.
Put your little horse back in the barn.
Yeah, drag it back in the barn.
Look,
okay.
There's only one little horse I want out of the barn. Dylan.
Enough about some guy's huge penis. I'm going to move it along.
Gross. You have what I think
great.
is a very interesting story. I can't wait to talk about it.
Okay, so
hit us with your best shot.
DC Nightclub apologizes for displaying the dead body of a Maryland rapper on stage. Now, when I first ran across the story, I was like, what? I must know more. A DC nightclub named Bliss issued an apology Monday after a video of slain Maryland rapper Markel Morrow went viral on social media. The footage shows the embalmed body of the up-and-coming rapper propped up on stage inside the nightclub spot while mourners sang and danced around him. Now, after that first paragraph, what would you be thinking?
Oh, hell. I mean, it's kind of cool. I would go to this.
I would definitely go. It was a $40 cover charge. Morrow, who rapped under the stage name Gnu, was killed during a suspected robbery in Prince George's County last month.
I used to live there.
According to the NBC Washington.
Shout out to the PG.
The homegoing celebration, titled The Final Show, had a $40 cover charge to enter the club. The videos received backlash from appalled and disturbed social media users who thought the party was unusual and disrespectful.
You know what? You don't want to go, then don't pay the money and fucking go on with your life.
See,
okay? If this man wants to be displayed for his friends and family and loved ones and fans, that's his business. You don't have to go. And how is this any different from, we've talked about Appalachian funeral traditions here on Mountain Murders, where you had a wake for days and people sat up with the dead, and this person was displayed in their living room for days and days.
For friends and family.
So how is that any different?
It's not. The Victorian age, our fascination with, just what, death in general, right?
They would put bodies on display and you could pay money to go see these famous folks who had passed away, or murder victims. You could pay to go see their body. I mean,
yeah, a notorious criminal or killer, they were definitely going to go on a damn nationwide tour of their body, right? The owner of Bliss needs to hire a pastor, and this is one example of the outrage online. The owner of Bliss needs to hire a pastor and an imam to cleanse that hoe, because that shit is insane. I get that the family could have wanted this, but I wouldn't have any of that kind of energy at my establishment.
How is having a dead body there with people celebrating this person that they loved and cared about? How is that bad energy? It's not like this was a horrific crime and this person was brutally murdered there and there could be a negative energy. This sounds to me like people celebrating a person's life who loved him and liked his music. They were fans, and this is his last request, and they're honoring that. To me, there's no negativity or bad energy comes from that.
This person doesn't understand energy to make that statement.
Well, no. And if you're afraid of a dead body, then I don't know what to tell you, because a dead body does not equate to a bad energy, because then what do they have? Somebody come in and bless the funeral home after every funeral?
I think most cemeteries have a peaceful energy.
Dude, I love going to the cemetery because it does have such a positive energy, and it is so peaceful and so quiet, and they're usually beautifully landscaped. I love going to cemeteries. So I think this person is being over dramatic.
Yeah, I agree. Bliss released a statement in response to the negative comments, apologizing to those who have been upset or offended about the party, and claiming that management wasn't made aware of how things would transpire.
We have to stop apologizing.
We have to stop apologizing. And here's the thing. Okay, my computer just tried to crap on itself. This was a celebration of life, and that's what his mother said. And his mother, friends, closest friends, family said this is what he would have wanted. Okay, so when you can look this up when you hear this, if you haven't seen it, you got to see the pictures. There's a video on YouTube, actually.
He's wearing a crown.
He is wearing...
Because he's a king.
His nice drip. Is that what they call it? He's dripping His
That's
outfit's
what our girls say.
his outfit's nice. Okay.
Yeah,
He looks great.
He's got that drip.
He looks great, honestly. He looks better than I do alive. Let's be honest. He has a crown on his head, sunglasses, and he's just in a pose, just chilling on stage, bruh. Standing upright. This is incredible.
Wearing the good fit. Dude, I think it's awesome.
This is incredible.
I'm not offended by this, and I think it's cool. If you're offended by it, cool. Don't look it up.
See, that's the thing. Because
my thing is in 2022, I made a resolution at the beginning of the year that I was going to stop apologizing for things because as women, I think we want to apologize for everything. Anytime we're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, even if I'm in the grocery store and I'm like blocking someone from being able to reach a box of, flour or something, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And the other day, a lady was like, honey, don't apologize. You're just grocery shopping just like I am. And I was like, damn, girl, you're right. But, I'm really trying not to apologize for everything because I don't owe anybody an apology just for existing or even if I make, we need to save that for a big, big thing. So if folks are offended by shit, I'm kind of over apologizing or trying to catering to everybody's sensitivities.
I agree.
Because we live in the fucking world and you're going to be shocked, you're going to be appalled, you're going to be disturbed by things.
You're going to be uncomfortable.
It happens. But this need to just be like catering to everybody's. We have to tiptoe around everybody's feelings. I don't know. I'm to a point where I'm like, fuck that.
Here's the thing. You're on social media. You weren't invited.
Yeah.
You weren't part of this.
The big question is first day on the internet because...
And the point is, what you think of what happened here doesn't matter.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Everybody thinks their opinion is so important nowadays. Just like us. We have a podcast so we can share our opinions. Which,
Well, the family told Fox News 5 that they participated in the celebration, and it was how they wanted to honor the rapper's life.
Well, there you go.
For all the negatives, people probably don't even know nothing about us, his mother said, Patrice Morrow. She, in an interview with the TV station, that was a very poorly structured sentence. They have no idea. People just saying what they want to say, which is a good point. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I'm pleased with how I sent my son away and sent him home, and I wish people would just let me grieve in peace.
Amen.
And the most important part of the story is the Prince George County's police department is still investigating the shooting death that led to Morrow's death, which was a suspected robbery, and are offering up to a $25,000 reward for information that would lead to an arrest of a suspect.
Let's hope that they are able to solve this crime.
So let that family
no mother
be.
Should experience losing her child in that way.
And I'm going to guess that this falls in line with the values and what their son would have wanted. And let them have fun. I'm sorry.
We're not all the same.
Our fear.
And if everybody did everything exactly the same, what a boring world we would live in. It's a spice of life. And if these people want to celebrate their son's homegoing, as they called it, in this way, they have every right to do that.
Yeah, see,
it doesn't make it wrong just it's not how you would do it.
What they did was much more in line with a large chunk of the world compared to how we view death and a dead body or a loved one in the Western world, right?
Absolutely.
So they celebrated his life. They wanted him to be a part of it.
And they knew he would want a party.
And his energy may have very well been there with them, which I'm sure it was, and probably smiling from above.
I hope
or below,
y'all have
if he's really
a
cool.
big ass fucking party when I kick the bucket.
I can't promise. I guess I could weld together a little structure to hold your little ass up.
Well, I don't know if you need to. I don't want to be there. I don't want anybody looking at me because,
okay.
I ain't trying to have people look at me.
So this is going to go down as a forever record of what you want.
No,
and
I just want,
if I go against
celebrate, have a party, live it up, do some keg stands.
I would much rather have a party.
Play all my favorite country songs.
Where all my
y'all
friends
standing around singing some Waylon Jennings in my honor. Have some PBR. Do some shots. Fuck, bring in the shine.
Yeah, I would much rather have a party where friends and family have a good time than a funeral.
Right.
Right.
Celebrate me, y'all.
Okay, what do you got for us next?
Okay. So I have a story out of West Palm Beach, Florida, and then we're going to get to like larger true crime figures, and then we're going to wrap it up with a missing persons case.
Oh, I got another good one.
That I stumbled across on TikTok, and it is an African-American woman from Ohio, and she was like, I want y'all to have the same energy that y'all had for Gabby Petito, and I was like, you know what? She is onto something here, And we like to spread the love around, Dylan, and show our compassion and help find missing persons. It doesn't matter what race they are, but we do know that a lot of black women, especially, and missing indigenous women do not get the attention that white women get. So we're going to talk about her missing persons case because I think that's important.
Oh my God.
Okay, let's talk about this first. So from WPEC in West Palm Beach, Florida, a bad breakup has led a Florida sheriff's deputy getting into some deep shit, Dylan.
Oh my God.
His ex-girlfriend gave a laundry list of allegations to the sheriff's office, which found he had violated policy after policy. Man, do not piss off an angry woman.
Well, if you do dumb shit,
see, this is what happens.
people's going to use that dumb shit against you.
Hath no fucking fury, bro. The Internal Affairs Investigation report said it was alleged that Deputy Sheriff Joshua Brack engaged in misconduct and committed various crimes while on and off duty. It was also alleged that the deputy disseminated agency information by sending a crime scene video to an unauthorized individual, sent nude and explicit photographs of himself to his work email while on duty and in uniform, neglected to respond to an in-progress call for service, and possessed unauthorized weapons in his patrol car, among other allegations.
Jesus, this guy's like it's like a manual on getting fired.
So he got in trouble back in June of 2021 when his girlfriend called the sheriff's office about a civil dispute, and a deputy was sent out to their apartment, which is in Belle Glade, about an hour outside of West Palm Beach. They were together for 2 years and had broken up and had only lived together for about 9 months. So she stated that her ex-boyfriend's family members showed up at her house to retrieve some of his personal items after he had moved out and to collect the remainder of his stuff. While on scene, she volunteered the following information about this sheriff's deputy: that he allegedly sent money to different males after having sex with them. He seized marijuana after traffic stops. He would take money from people at traffic stops. He drove his ex-girlfriend around in his PBSO, his sheriff's office vehicle, while on duty. He allegedly sent a lot of videos and photographs from calls he had responded to the girlfriend, implicating people in these crimes and whatnot, making fun of people who were arrested. That
it's
kind of
wholly
shit.
Inappropriate.
He photographed his penis and sent it to people while he was in uniform. Oh my gosh. He would respond to calls in the Hispanic communities and randomly search people and keep their belongings.
This guy was a menace.
So fuck that dude.
So this is after he broke up.
This is after they broke up that she told on him.
She told everything.
Now look, I ain't trying to make everything about me here, but I do know, I have witnessed it myself, Dylan, that law enforcement officers will, in fact, send dick pics and pornographic videos to people while they are on duty in their patrol car.
Is it like they think it's cool or something to just whip their little wiener out in their uniform?
And I know for a fact of officers here in our local community that have received sexual favors with, whoever, wives, girlfriends, in their patrol cars.
Oh, I guess
while they are on duty.
I guess that's a whole thing, right?
I guess.
And I know for a fact that some of these very similar allegations have happened to you from a paper maker that I might know.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. Maybe like I don't know what's this thing of sending dick pics. Okay, that's weird to me.
Yeah, I know. You've said that.
Yeah, I know. But you maybe made me send you a dick pic.
I've never made you.
I'm just
send
saying
anything.
So what I'm saying is maybe
that is strange. I don't even know where this allegation comes from.
Maybe it's you.
No.
Okay, maybe you fucking knew. Okay.
No, bro.
Anywho,
maybe you want me to send you a dick pic. Maybe you've asked me to send you a dick
You
pic.
send me dick pics all the time, and it's disturbing. I'm like, A, where did she get that dick from? You know, and they're varying lengths, which is also disturbing.
Maybe you asked me for it, Dylan. I mean, you want to drag my name through the mud. I'm going to drag your name through the mud. Maybe you want me to send you dick pics.
So, okay, let's put our serious hat on. This guy
It's a menace.
is a menace. He was trampling on people's rights in so many ways. He violated, my God, countless policies, no professionalism, and I'm sure some of this was done through intimidation.
So I guess this
and
stuff happened
threats.
in March, but he has this month been let go after they have done a pretty intense investigation into it. So there you go.
Good.
I've got one more, and then I'll let you speak. I will allow it.
Yeah, I must apologize to our listeners. We are stepping on each other a bit, but I think right now we're both.
Yeah, step on it, Daddy.
See what I'm talking about? We're kind of excited, and when we get this way,
When we get excited.
excited,
When we get excited.
we both get.
We have ADD.
We're ADD, and our interrupting and stepping on each other is when our brains are clicking
You
very
can't
fast.
imagine what the conversations in our house are like because my daughter is like a really bad, like, oh, and interrupts. And so the three of us trying to have conversation or going to dinner is like chaotic. And I notice that other people will just look at us like, what the fuck, you know, because we're just like, ah. And our friends are like, what are they even talking about? But we can keep track.
Right, but what I'm trying to say is we're really happy to be here, and this is
very happy to be here.
Our energy is we're just happy to talk to y'all, and that's what's happening. So I do apologize a bit for that.
You know why? Because
you're doing this on purpose now.
Light up my life.
Yeah, you gotta stop that.
Why? Are you saying I have a bad voice?
Nope, I would never say that.
That's not true. Every time we sing karaoke, you laugh at me. And
That's
you'll be
not
like,
true.
I can't even believe you were trying to sing that song. What the fuck?
Well, not the one time you were falling down drunk, like propped yourself up by the speaker and forgot all the words to a Cher song you love that I know you can sing word for word and very easily.
You made me.
I have video of that.
Well, it wasn't my fault when you're the one feeding me liquors. Okay. This bitch. This fucking bitch.
You fucking knew.
Okay. If Amber Heard should be shitting in anybody's bed, it's Casey Anthony.
I must say I'm against this kind of trial coverage when we didn't even see anything about Ghislaine and all that, the stuff that really matters.
Ghislaine.
But I must say, and I got that from last podcast on the left. Thank you guys. I must say this coverage is actually fairly entertaining.
I fucking hate Casey Anthony. Oh, you're talking about the Amber Heard Johnny Depp?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean...
Did you pour yourself a mega pint of wine, Mr. Depp?
I poured myself a large glass of
A
wine.
mega pint? What's a mega pint?
I mean, he's pretty golden. Now, I usually try to side with a victim, and I hate to, like, not believe people, but as this trial goes on and more information's coming out, Amber Heard is a fucking toxic person, and she's a goddamn bitch. And if somebody's shit in my bed, I would probably smack the shit out of them, too. I'm just saying. I don't advocate for violence, domestic violence in particular, but come on.
Now, if you shit in my bed, man, I might put hands on you. I'm saying.
I might snap. Because that's just wrong. Anyway,
that's way too far.
So Amber Heard, Casey Anthony, skanks of a feather, they flock together right now. Anyway, so Casey Anthony here is planning to cooperate on a documentary about her life.
So she's crawled out from under her rock.
So a source says she's waited almost 14 years to really talk deeply about her experience, and she's getting ready to tell her truth. She feels like it's time. Okay, so now this bitch trying to profit off of her story, and she's a fucking liar. She's lied and lied and lied and lied and lied throughout the years and during the trial and during the search for her poor daughter, Kaylee. So who's going to believe anything that comes out of this bitch's mouth?
Well, sadly, people are going to tune in, and honestly, I know there's this
Boycott it.
true crime fascination and all. I will not watch her for a moment.
No, I will not. I mean, I debated even talking about this, but because I get to call her a lot of mean names, and talk shit about her, I'm willing to talk about it. So Casey Anthony, she's now 36 years old, was arrested in 2008 for the disappearance of her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee. And then for 6 months, volunteers, they did a nationwide search for this little baby girl and followed up on hundreds of leads. And then in December, her remains were found in a wooded area near the Anthony family home. Casey was charged with murder. She had a 2011 trial that was a media circus. I feel like that's an understatement. There were like 40 million people, Dylan, who tuned in to watch some of the testimony.
Oh, it certainly had the nation by the balls.
And then on July 5th of 2011, Anthony was infamously acquitted of murder and the manslaughter charges, but she was convicted of 4 counts of lying to police. So again, she's a fucking proven liar. I don't want to listen to anything this bitch has to say.
In
and
my
I'm going to
opinion,
keep calling her a bitch because she's a fucking bitch.
she's a
and
murderer.
If that offends you, I don't give a shit.
She's a child murderer.
And she's one person that somebody should shit in her bed and then they should smack her face and probably do a lot of other mean things to her. But anyway, Anthony has only spoken once about the case. She gave an interview to the Associated Press back in 2017. During that interview, which of course was not on camera, she acknowledged that the public didn't like her, but claimed she didn't care. Her quote was, "I don't give a shit about what anyone thinks of me. I never will. Based off what was in the media, I understand the reasons people feel about me. I understand why people have opinions that they do. I didn't do what I was accused of, but I fought for 3 years, not just for me, but for my daughter."
Wouldn't it be crazy if she really didn't do it?
She made some headlines last year when she got into a bar fight with a woman who was competing for the same men as her. The woman allegedly poured a drink on Casey Anthony, good for her, after a verbal altercation. She claims that she's had a few short-lived romances since the trial, but she keeps a pretty lonely, guarded life now. And since she's got out of jail, she mostly just keeps to herself.
Yeah, so wouldn't it be crazy if someone else came into their home and used their home computer to search all about dead bodies and ways to kill things and get rid of bodies?
Chloroform.
And wouldn't it be crazy if someone else took her car and put her daughter in there, therefore leaving signs or that the child may have been in the trunk?
Smells of death.
Yeah, smells of death.
And then somebody ordered those pizzas and left them in the trunk, which somehow makes the car smell like a human body, even though it's just supposed to be like pepperoni pizza or rotting. Anyway.
And then the same crazy person that was not Casey Anthony, because she's obviously innocent, as she claims, dumped the body just down the road from their house. Wouldn't that be crazy? She's I'm sorry. I don't believe a word she says.
But
and in my heart of hearts, she killed her daughter.
She says right here, but she wants her voice to be heard. Fuck her. It's unclear whether she's given the interview yet, but it's going to air on a major streaming service. We don't know which one. I think we can probably assume. And a release date has yet to be set. But
well, you know what? Go ahead and do this, Netflix, if you're the ones behind this, because you are losing subscribers at a rate that you've never experienced, and it could be for some of the programming choices that you make, right? Remember Cuties, the over hypersexualized story of 4 French girls that everybody lost their mind about, but Netflix is like, fuck that, we're leaving it on. I wonder why, but they pull other shit left and right, but it was because it was about kids, and they hate the kids, okay? But don't get me started. So, but anyway, keep it up. Yeah, put Casey Anthony's dumbass on there, and you'll lose another fucking few 10,000s of people.
Well, I would unsubscribe.
I will. Can I make that? I'm going to make that declaration right now.
Let's do it.
To whichever service this is, if you pay this bitch for her story, I am gone. You will lose my little $10 or whatever a month. Netflix, you've been put on notice.
I'm on board. I hate that woman this much that I will.
That's true.
I will cancel my entertainment subscription.
I'm true.
To make a statement.
I will vlog me canceling it and post it on our social media.
Ooh, let's do it. Okay, Dylan, you have something else for us?
Yes, I do.
I will allow you to speak now.
This is not crime, and I found myself in the entertainment industry,
fine.
Which I do rail against.
You know what? We like it.
It's weird.
We like it.
Okay. So Megan Fox clarifies that she and Machine Gun Kelly consume each other's blood, but for ritual purposes only.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, that's cool. Megan Fox is explaining that blood drinking comment about her Machine Gun Kelly proposal. In her engagement announcement on Instagram back in January, the actress caught some fans by surprise when she shared that the romantic milestone included a moment when I said yes, and then we drank each other's blood. When obviously asked to clarify what she meant, the cover star of British Glamour's April 2022 issue explained, so I guess to drink each other's blood might mislead people, or people might imagine that we're sitting with goblets and we're like Game of Thrones drinking each other's blood. Gosh, she really talks like this? Jesus Christ. Oh, sorry, I lost my spot. It was such a horror. Okay.
Don't take the Lord's name in vain. That's offensive to people, and I will apologize to folks for that.
Did I say GD?
You said Jesus Christ.
Oh. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't mean that. I don't want to offend. But, okay.
Sometimes I'll apologize for things like that, but the rest of it, I don't care.
It's just a few drops. But yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes only. She continued, I read tarot cards and I'm into astrology and I'm doing all these metaphysical practices and meditations. And I do rituals on new moons and full moons and all of these things. And so when I do it, it's a passage or is used for a reason. And it is controlled where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it. Here's the best part of the story. She added that her fiance, Machine Gun Kelly, oh my God, his real name's Colson Baker. Wow. Is much more haphazard and hectic and chaotic, where he's willing to just cut his chest open with a broken bottle and be like, take my soul. When asked if that scenario actually happened, Fox answered with a laugh, it doesn't happen. Let me tell you, maybe not exactly like that, but a version of that has happened many times.
Okay. Now, I understand that people are into witchcraft and magic and metaphysical stuff. And, we dabble. Get it. And if people want to drink blood, there are those sanguarian folks who are like into that. And if that's your shtick, good for you.
Yeah, lean into it.
I don't really care. But I will say that I do find Machine Gun Kelly pretty gross. He kind of disgusts me. And there's something about her that kind of gives me icky vibes too. And so them together, I'm just like, ugh, okay. They're kind of perfect because they sort of match each other's like level of grossness. So in my mind, they're like a perfect couple.
They're this generation's Billy Bob and Angelina Jolie.
But what they that's a good way to describe it. But what they remind me of are like really passionate, like 16-year-olds that are like, we're goth or emo and we're going to drink each other's blood.
We have a blood pact.
Like they just haven't ever grown up out of that phase or something, or they're like just coming into that phase that some of us may have experienced as young teenagers or something. And they're just kind of now embracing that they're like older. Again, do you? But I'm like, of course they do. They're that couple that of course they do. Yeah.
That's why they wear how old is Megan Fox? Do we know that?
No, I guess she's in her 30s. I know people have always thought she was like super hot. And I'm not saying she's unattractive. I mean, she's a pretty girl. She's a pretty woman.
A pretty girl, and I must say.
But there's just something about, I don't know. She just gives me kind of icky vibes. And maybe I shouldn't say that, but it's true.
She's always been off-putting to me, and I cannot put my finger on it because she's attractive, right? And especially when she burst onto the scene, if you will.
Yeah, back in the day.
But there's just something about it. Her that has always been like, I don't know. I have nothing against trash. A little bit of trash is cool and interesting, but it's just weird. It's like icky. I mean, it's a good way to describe it.
You love me.
We're trashy.
I'm white trashy as fuck.
She also stated that her musician fiance is literally my exact physical type. She also explained why she feels she's been manifesting him since she was 4 years old. I'm also 4 years older than him, so I think I made him. And my thoughts and intentions grew him into the person that he is. Who knows what he would have looked like or been like if it wasn't for me.
No, I understand that because I manifested you.
Nuh-uh.
It's true.
You didn't.
For years, I was like, where can I just find a hardworking, blue-collar man with a sexy dad bod plus a little extra.
Yeah.
With a beard.
Yes, baby.
Turn it into a silver fox.
You're going to have a full plate.
Because I love that salt and pepper beard you've got. And when a man's going gray, I find that sexy. Because as we all know, my childhood crush was Steve Martin.
Oh, wow. You're setting the bar pretty high for me.
Well, I'm not saying you're as funny as Steve Martin, but you do crack me up.
Oh, no, I'm funny in a different way than Steve Martin, let's be honest.
You are, yes, Dylan, you and Steve Martin are on the same matched level of comedy, just in different ways. That makes sense. You have a
Steve Martin's
sense of humor.
He's an icon. I'm just an underexposed.
Dylan, you're an icon.
I'm like a picture you can't quite
Mountain
see.
Murders listeners, they think you're iconic.
Oh, I love them. We love them.
You're like a micro icon.
So here we are in the midweek. We hope everyone looks forward to their weekend.
Well, I'm not done, bitch.
You got another one?
I have 2 more.
You have 2
I
more?
told you I had a couple.
Oh my God. Well, my gosh.
Now, we've already touched a little bit on this, but I'm revisiting it. And that is, this is Johnny. I said I had 2 kind of famous true crime stories to talk about, and then I had a missing person. So can you back up the fuck off me? Get up off my dick, bro.
Let go.
Okay. So we know that the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial has been all over the place, you know, wall-to-wall coverage of this. A lot of folks on social media sharing their opinions. So many funny memes have been circulating about it. But this is kind of a latest update, Dylan. A clinical and forensic psychologist who evaluated Amber Heard that was hired by Johnny Depp's legal team has testified that the actress showed signs of borderline and histrionic personality disorders, but no signs of PTSD.
Now, I misquoted what histrionic is. Is that basically like anxiety or just a real over-the-top energy? I said hysterical, but it's not.
No, it is a personality disorder, and I've already touched on this a little bit. And of course, you always ask me
I'm
when
sorry.
I don't have things pulled up, like I'm just some fucking genius who knows everything. I mean, I appreciate that you have that kind of faith in me, but... So it is a personality disorder, Dylan, that is characterized by a pattern of excessive attention-seeking behavior, usually beginning in childhood, and often includes inappropriate seduction and excessive desire for approval.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I have to remember that from henceforth.
You do?
Yeah,
So you quit asking me.
Well, I would argue that a lot of actors and actresses, or I guess they're all actors now. Is that the proper way to say it? They a lot of them have this.
So there is this, I don't know what that's called when it's like, you know,
Oh yeah.
No, when it's called I Crave Sin. So it's like basically the I stands for inappropriate behavior. This is what they've described as histrionic personality disorder. So the I is inappropriate behavior, which means seductive or provocative. The C in crave, center of attention. The R, relationships are seen closer than they really are. A, appearance is most important. V, vulnerable to other suggestions. E, emotional expression is exaggerated. S, shifting emotions, shallow as well. The I in sin is impressionistic manner of speaking, often lacks detail. And N, novelty is craved.
Wow.
So that represents some of histrionic personality disorder. Don't ask me again.
I could see that leading to issues in your personal and professional life.
Well, look, I'm no psychiatrist, but I have horrific PTSD. I mean, we've talked about this before, and I have been a victim of domestic violence. And I can tell you that person, I have absolutely no desire to see them. You know this. I won't even say that person's name. I will always be like, you know, that evil one we don't mention.
It's Voldemort.
Or we'll call him Voldemort, because I don't want to fucking even talk about this person, because it sends me, when I start thinking about it and I start thinking about the just horrific nature of that relationship, it like sends me to a place and like I will start feeling panic and upset. I don't want to see this person. If I've been in a public place and they happen to be there, or my friend, I'm going to dinner and text me like, this person's there, I won't even go to the fucking restaurant because that's how much I hate this person.
Right, and you won't point this person out to me because I will put my goddamn hands on. Oh, see what you made me do?
No, so see, anywho, I'm just saying, all of that said, and I know everybody's different, but if you watch the trial footage and you watch Johnny Depp sitting there, he does not make any kind of eye contact with her. He doesn't want to look at her. He doesn't want to see her. It's quite obvious from his body language, which makes me think, okay, this man does have some signs of PTSD, or he's been victimized.
He's the victim.
But she sits there and she's staring over at him. She keeps looking at him. It's almost like this intimidation type of behavior.
And she's also just craving for some connection back with him.
Yeah.
Right?
Like she just wants him to even like look at her and acknowledge her or something. So therefore, when they say she doesn't have PTSD, makes sense to me, just based off of what I can see from this trial footage.
So from personal experience and what you can see,
Yep.
He's more likely to have the PTSD than she is.
Yeah. So unless he's just a great actor, which we know he is, his behavior to me just shows that he doesn't want to have anything to do with her. And that is how I personally have felt. So I guess I kind of understand where he's coming from with his body language and looking down and not making eye contact with her, not even turning to look over his shoulder at any point in time while she's sitting there looking at him, like trying to intimidate, or she's staring at him. She keeps looking at him. Yeah. So on day 9 of Depp's defamation trial against Heard, which is taking place in Fairfax, Virginia, a Dr. Shannon Curry told the court that she was asked to provide a psychological evaluation of Ms. Heard back in October of 2021, but was never asked to do so for Johnny Depp. Now, Dr. Curry reviewed all the case documents as part of her evaluation of the Aquaman actress, as well as Heard's medical records, including what she has undergone for mental health treatment, audio and video recordings, photos, and multiple witness statements. Then she met with Amber Heard on 2 separate dates, which was December 10th and December 17th of 2021, for a total of about 12 hours of FaceTime. This Dr. Curry says the results of Ms. Heard's evaluation supported 2 diagnoses, the borderline personality and the histrionic personality disorder, and that she saw no signs of PTSD in her evaluation of Heard, but noted, quote, just because somebody doesn't have PTSD doesn't mean that they weren't harmed psychologically, but whatever is being alleged. In this case, Ms. Heard is alleging that she was physiologically harmed, and that she does suffer from this PTSD because of alleged abuse. The Mayo Clinic defines borderline personality as a mental health disorder that impacts the way you think and feel about yourself and others, causing problems functioning in everyday life. So you can have self-image issues, difficulty managing emotions, behavior, and maybe a pattern of unstable relationships. You also have a fear of abandonment.
So this is a civil trial, correct?
Yes.
For $50 million, is that right? I think
he is suing her for $50 million, and she is countersuing for $100 million.
Okay. So let me get this right. See if this is the way you see it. Her defense basically is she has PTSD. She was in this horrible relationship. She wasn't thinking clearly at all times, and it may have affected some of the things she said, because I'm not trying to be callous, but the case is about defamation. So whether or not you had PTSD and all that, the case, the point of the trial is, did you defame him by making these libel statements to a third party, which would in this case be the public, right? And he's alleging that her statements, what she did and said,
her newspaper,
have affected him.
Well, there was a newspaper article that she wrote, like an op-ed, where she discussed being a victim of violence, and though she didn't name him, it's pretty obvious from the statements she was speaking about Johnny Depp. Then the Sun called him a wife beater in a headline, I think, and he sued them and ended up losing that.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, the Sun is rather notorious. They've been sued by, of course, all those rags have,
right,
but they have been for decades, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Sun is notorious in Britain. Okay, so, yeah.
I'd like to end on this missing persons case, Dylan.
Okay, let's get serious.
Like we should spotlight the story. In 2019, Paige Coffey was a young woman who attended Youngstown State University in Ohio. She was majoring in fashion merchandising and was one of those gals who enjoyed all things fashion and beauty.
Okay.
We might know some girls like that.
That'd be fun.
She also worked at a retail store for women. She was married and divorced. She was 27 years old and had been dating again. She had a large network of family and friends. She had recently lost her father and was very close with her family. She loved her mom, her aunts, grandparents, a lot of cousins. I mean, this was like a very close-knit family. They really enjoyed being together. I love that. I'm very jealous of folks who have that, because I think it will be wonderful to have a big network of people that your family, and you love each other and spend a lot of time together.
Oh, yeah. Lots of aunts and uncles, cousins, both sets of grandparents, all that stuff is only a dream.
If you have that, you're so lucky.
You are. You are lucky.
We don't really have that, and I know we both crave that kind of thing. So you're lucky if you got this. And Paige had an awesome family, it sounds like. In 2019, she had been living with her grandparents in Bracknell, Ohio, a Cleveland suburb. She worked in Macedonia, and she usually got rides or took an Uber because she didn't have her own car. And on May 7th of 2019, she was seen at Steelyard Commons Shopping Plaza with her boyfriend, but she has never been seen again.
Oh, my God.
It's very sad. So, it's not a remote area. It's a big city. Definitely has its fair share of crime, missing persons, but nobody really knows, what happened to her.
So I'm going to assume she wouldn't just take off.
It doesn't sound like it.
Right. She sounds like she had a big family and friends. Everybody cared about her. She's close-knit, tight, family there. And she just doesn't sound like the type of person who would just blow all that off and go do her own thing without at least letting someone know that I'm okay. I'm doing this, but I'm okay. And it's just, it's disheartening, And honestly, with the missing stories, it kind of hits me in a different way because we just don't know, you don't know anything. And I really feel for the families that have to go through this. And I can't imagine how they feel.
So this area, Steelyard Commons, was once upon a time like some kind of plant or factory area, So they officially began cleaning it up to comply with EPA regulations. And then it opened in 2007 with stores like Home Depot, Burlington Coat Factory, Target, and a lot of other places. There was a lot of fast food chains around, Steak and Shake, which I fucking love, and Burger King. There was an IHOP and Applebee's there. So as you can see, it was like a pretty busy area that had been developed and was a huge hit. Everybody going there, everybody talking about it. But then things started to kind of change there. It became a place where, you wanted to lock your doors, not go alone. There were crimes reported, a lot of theft, a few assaults. They had a fatal shooting, its first, back in October of 2017. In December of 2020, U.S. Marshals chased a fugitive from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then back to Ohio at the Steelyard Commons where they had a standoff that ended with law enforcement opening fire on a suspect in a parking lot in broad daylight.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
See, I'm going to say that instead of
There
JC.
was another July 2021 shooting in the parking lot. So, we know that a lot of these places have problems,
Well,
but this is a pretty large shopping area, and now people are saying it's not as popular or common as it once was for people to go shopping there because it has kind of become an area known for crime.
Well, what happens in these large developed areas like this, I can picture it in my head, and I'm all for, I'm all for good jobs with good benefits. But when you reclaim these abandoned factories and large chunks of land, they could be hundreds of acres sometimes, and bring in some jobs and retail and just make it a cool place to go get some good food.
And it's got that history behind it.
And it has that history. I'm all for these when they do these super fun cleanups and reclaim this land instead of developing virgin land. It's the smart thing to do. But what you end up with in these great big complexes like this is lots of parking lot, lots of nooks and crannies. And you have so many people coming in and out of the area. Well, you have the criminal element. This is a great place to meet and pass off drugs, right?
Car break-ins.
This is a great place to go prey on people. An easy place to make
steal a purse,
steal a purse,
wallet,
break into a car,
shoplift.
If you're 5 football fields from the front of a store and you see someone get out of their car and go to walk in, you have a large amount of time to mess with their property before they're going to come back. So that's what happens around the edges of these parking lots, and it's a big deal. It happens on a much smaller scale here in our area. You can go to any parking lot, grocery store, Walmart, whatever, and a lot of often see some sketchy ass people sitting on the very end or right there on the edges, and can tell that they're not there to shop.
People's up to no good in my hood, yo.
Okay.
It's true.
Yeah.
So on May 7th of 2019, as I mentioned before, Paige and her boyfriend, a fellow named PJ, that's all the information I have, that they were shopping at Steelyard Commons. Then from there, Paige's family tried for a couple of days after to reach her, couldn't. So she's an adult. She's a grown woman. And, it's not like it's a huge immediate red flag when you can't reach an adult because maybe she's busy. She's doing other things. But, yeah, you can kind of come and go as you please. But, families know when it's not normal. She lived with her grandparents. She kept in touch. She had a close-knit family. they knew right away, like, something wasn't quite right. Her family starts to worry. They realize she hasn't been showing up for work. No one has spoken to her in days. So it was May 17th, about 10 days after she was last seen, that she was finally reported missing. Now, in some reports, PJ, her boyfriend, is mentioned as a person of interest, but it seems like there's little to no clues pointing to where Paige might be. What's also interesting is that in one of the interviews, her family states there may have been a recent change to her mental health that had them worried. So that kind of definitely adds another bit of information to this case. There are some theories. Of course, law enforcement has theories, family, friends, internet sleuths. The first one is that her boyfriend could be involved.
Well, it sounds like he was the last person to be confirmed to have been with her. So that is interesting to a degree.
The second theory is that perhaps she had harmed herself because, again, she seemed to be having some kind of mental health struggle, though I don't know a ton of details about that. But Paige is described as a black woman, 27 years old when she disappeared, so she would be 30 now. She's about 5'8" and weighs about 230 pounds. She's really gorgeous. All these photos of her, she's a very pretty woman. She could have changed her hair, but at the time, she had it in braids. It could be worn, I guess, all natural or short. Those were the styles she kind of kept. She has brown hair, brown eyes, her ears are pierced, and she has a mole on her forehead. So if you have any information about Paige Coffey, missing from Ohio, call the Bruntonall Police Department at 216-681-1234. And I'm happy to talk about Paige's case because I do agree that, we were all on board with Gabby Petito, but there's plenty of other missing women out there that deserve attention.
Well, it's true. I mean, we could all be discussing this literally every single day of the week for months on all year long, because that's how many people do go missing, and it's interesting sometimes the ones that do float to the top like that and get sensationalized.
Yeah, Paige's sister posted this video with her information on TikTok, asking folks to please share Paige's story. I saw it. I was touched by her sister's video and thought, you know what, Dylan, we should shed some light on this case. Because I'm all for helping find missing persons. And, a lot of times on Instagram, when I'm having a slow day or don't have memes or, have some time, I like to post missing persons information there on some of these cases that are not well known.
Yeah, and even I'm sure this story was a fairly major story there in the region, in that very direct area at least. But we have some really good components here that might jog someone's memory.
And we have a lot of listeners in Ohio.
Yeah, the Still Yard there. That sounds like a very popular place. And you don't have to know exactly what happened. You could have some small little tidbit, something that just thinking about that area or about that time of the year when this happened, you may remember something might just pop up that didn't seem like a big deal at the time, but now that you think about it, it might mean something. So every little small bit of information, you'll never know where it could lead.
Now, I used a resource to find information about Paige, medium.com. Jennifer from the Missing Persons podcast, Where Are They Now?, has a great write-up on Medium about it. So that's what, where I was getting my information for today, just so you know. And let's wrap it up, Dylan.
And let's hope that Paige and her family, they find some resolution, and let's hope there's a happy ending.
It's true.
I can do that. I'm going to send positive energy to them.
Yes, thank you for that. If you have any case suggestions or just want to drop us a line, you can reach us at mountainmurderspodcast@gmail.com. We do love hearing from you all. Have had a couple of new folks reach out. Hey, I heard your podcast. Had someone from Caldwell County, North Carolina today, actually named Brandy, who sent us a lovely message. Made us feel really good. We love it when locals find us, or people in the area, or just anywhere in the world that says, hey, we love your podcast.
Yeah, she's like, you sound like me.
I think it's awesome, Dylan. We have also listeners all over the world. And I know recently our podcast has been charting in some cool countries, man. Hungary.
I love it.
Latvia, Croatia. We have listeners in Brazil. We had some listeners in Russia the other day.
Russia just popped up. What's that mean?
It's so exciting.
I love Russia.
I
the country Russia. Get outside the politics.
I know. You really want to visit Russia.
I just think it's cool. Their history is just as fascinating as even some of the, the Chinese history. And I mean, these histories stretch so far back. And I guess as an American, we're not as exposed to it in our, during the education system. So I find it very fascinating.
When we take like a European history class, it's briefly touched upon, but there is so much.
Oh, yeah.
It is very fascinating. Military history alone, I find very fascinating in Russia.
Yeah, so I did dig way deep in those very stats that you're talking about, and Mountain Murders is being listened to in 25 plus countries.
I think that's so great, Dylan. And it's just so kind of funny to me because when we started this podcast, I was surprised we even had like 2 listeners.
I remember.
And now we have thousands of listeners, and it's really exciting. And then when I see folks in other countries, and I'm like, of all the podcasts in the world, they choose to listen to our little country asses with our little redneck accents, being like, hey, y'all.
How you doing?
I'm like, oh.
I know about that country. It's cool.
They're probably listening to us just because we have weird accents.
Maybe they're listening to us ironically.
Maybe they're laughing at us the whole time, like, ha, 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 these dumb country bumpkins. But anyway, we appreciate you listening. I don't care if you make fun of me.
Keep downloading
Keep downloading it.
I'm like Easy-E. If you buy the CD and then burn it, cool.
Yeah,
keep it up.
Exactly.
All right. No, but we love you all, as you well know. And, wow, I guess this is it for now, right?
I dropped some new content on patreon.com for our top tier subscribers. If you are interested in becoming one of those, check out patreon.com/Mountain Murders Podcast for all of that bonus content. And we're about to crank out a new Patreon episode, Dylan.
For everyone.
Exactly. So, thanks.
All right. Until next time.
We're going to be traveling to Virginia.
So we're moving regions.
We're going to Virginia, and I have an excellent case.
Well, I must say
kick off our Virginia month.
The Northeast with some good stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to dig into Virginia.
Oh, we're excited.
Oh, wow. Whoa, hold on.
Virginia, we're coming for you.
That could commonly use as a female's name, and that did not sound right.
Virginia.
But I do enjoy entering Virginia when I get the chance. I'm just going to ride with it.
Virginia is for lovers.
It is. I love it.
And lovers of true crime.
It's a beautiful, beautiful state.
It's our next door neighbor.